Welcome back to the WGL APAC
Yes,
season
welcome
1.
back. Look, I'm sure everyone...
I don't know if that was intentional, but I really hope that it was.
Probably was, knowing our production team, honestly. Yeah. They like to catch us off guard every now and then.
Keeps us on our toes.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. But
Wow.
Just practicing for our next pre-show, Jordan.
Okay.
You know?
Fair enough. Oh well. Anyway, after all that fun aside, we're going to be heading into B Gaming and Coalition Zoo as our final map for today. And we've just come off a pretty quick win from Wargaming, but the other maps or the other matches today have been relatively close. And to be honest, I feel like this one should be potentially pretty close. Both teams very close on the scoreboard, all things considered, 5th and 6th, B Gaming, TCZ respectively. So for me, it feels like at the moment TCZ are on a bit of like a downslope, B Gaming maybe on a bit of an up. Although in saying that, they've just lost a couple of matchups against Karen Tiger. So I guess you could say coming into this one, B Gaming's form hasn't been the best either. But I still feel like they're just a little bit over TCZ in this one.
I think you could say B Gaming, they haven't really been on their A game this time.
That was bad. So, don't do that again.
I'm sorry. Anyways.
It's getting late in the night and everything's going downhill from here, isn't it?
It is. Anyways. But look, what we just saw was a very clean match between Karen Tiger and Wargaming. Look, that was, just Wargaming at their best. Karen Tiger, I think, honestly, having a bit of an off day. Here, though, B Gaming and TCZ, this was actually the match that I've got written down that I predicted to be a 5-0 to B Gaming.
Right.
But I'm not so sure of that. So
yeah, it's hard to say because TCZ could really just show up here, come out and absolutely wreck Coalition Zoo, who have been looking a little bit weak of late. So, yeah, again, hard to say. I think Coalition Zoo, coming to this one, I mean, they started off very well throughout the season, really.
Yep.
This is kind of the thing about Coalition Zoo is that they did start off very well. They looked very good. Those E100s, they got on Himmelsdorf, they got onto Ghost Town, Ruhenberg. They used those E100s very well. But now, in sort of the later stages of the season, it feels like teams are starting to figure things out, and they're kind of counteracting somewhat of the one-trick pony, I suppose, that we've sort of labelled Coalition Zoo.
Exactly. Early on in the season, Coalition Zoo, like you said, they picked their E100s. It was a tank, honestly, that no one suspected. It was like, well, it's a joke. It's a joke, these E100s that these guys are picking, and they absolutely decimated with them. But now, really, we need to see something more than that coming out from TCZ to actually take out wins.
Yeah, definitely. Across the board, it feels like B Gaming does have a slightly better map pool than Coalition Zoo. So coming into that, I guess there's that advantage. But in saying that, the maps that they are good on, Coalition Zoo is also pretty good on. It just feels like B Gaming might be that little bit better. So I guess it comes down to this to see how they turn out tonight. But it definitely, a Coalition Zoo that could come in today and could take it to B Gaming. For me, though, I feel like they're going to be coming in as the underdogs. Currently sitting in number 7 on the ladder. Excuse me. And so, of course, they're not looking that great. But definitely, we have seen this team perform quite well. So, hoping for them to be able to do that again. But, I guess it does come down to the maps. If they can get onto those maps that the E100s like, and if they can actually use the E100s the way that they have been throughout the first few weeks, then maybe something can come out of it. But otherwise, it feels like B Gaming are going to be the ones to take it away.
Yeah, and Team Coalition Zoo, look, I think players to look out for, Madhouse and Crazy B, always making some pretty big plays. Madhouse actually recently was our player of the week, in our player profile, for those that might follow us on Twitter or Facebook at WGL APAC or WG League. Posted Madhouse up there, and of course he is the youngest member of TCZ at just I think 16 years old at the moment. So quite a young'un in the mix. But
yeah, and I mean TCZ at the moment, they are struggling a little bit. I think it's fair to say they went down 5-0 in week number 6 against Team Efficiency, and admittedly Team Efficiency looked very good in that one. They looked like they had the counter-strikes ready. They knew what was going to happen from Coalition Zoo, but obviously regardless of how that result came about, it's not a good one for Coalition Zoo. So heading into this week, hopefully they're going to be able to pull off something, I guess, against B Gaming. I just don't know if it's going to happen. I feel like it should be a 5-3 overall to B Gaming. I'm going to give them a bit of credit, a little bit more than your 5-0 to B Gaming, but we'll see how they turn out. B Gaming, of course, sitting up in a bit of a better position, number 5, but still, they're going to be one of those teams that is pushing for that top 4. So they are obviously wanting to really get a win on the board here.
Yeah, I think that B Gaming here, it should be a fairly simple, straightforward win from them. Taking a look at their past performances, like you said, it was 5-1 in favour of B Gaming when they played last, and I really don't see how this one's going to be very much different, because Team Coalition Zoo, they just haven't been winning recently. They've been on a downhill slope, and it pains me to say, because I love the TCZ guys. I love watching them play, love seeing them essentially one of the first teams in the WGL APAC to innovate, but they are really going to need to step it up to take on the game. And Til Matil, got to keep our eyes out for Til Matil.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Til.
Boosts.
Big fan.
I love Til.
Yeah. Anyway, having a look across the map pool, B Gaming, I think, are going to be favoured heading into this, which is probably obvious to say considering I think B Gaming has the better map pool. First map is going to be Steps, and I think that one's relatively even, although both teams have a bit of a differing sort of playstyle, I guess, on Steps. One team, obviously B Gaming here, favouring attack, Coalition Zoo favouring the defensive side a little bit. So I think maybe this one could go 50-50. But we'll have to see how it turns out. We'll head into the tank lineups and get underway with this one.
Let's find out, I guess. And we are going to be seeing both teams picking fairly mobile tanks. Interesting that the Coalition are going to be going with that artillery piece, that Lorraine 155-51. So B Gaming not going to be going with that, of course, just going with some standard medium tanks and a couple of 113s thrown in there. Which, I mean, again, nothing too crazy. And yeah, I like the Lorraine pick here on Steps if they can use it sort of how I think, has it been EL that's picked it before? Or
Yeah, EL. We saw them actually pick it today.
Yeah, well, exactly. There you go. So I think the Lorraine can work here on the Steps defensives.
Actually, that was Horseman that picked it today, sorry.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
We have definitely seen EL pick it up.
Falusa.
Yeah, it was Falusa. I got it mixed up with Fox TS.
There
but
you go.
Yeah, we have seen EL pick up the artillery on Steps. So
yep.
Anyway, I'm not so sure about it here for Coalition Zoo, but we'll see what they can pull off. Feel like I'm going to lean towards a 1-1 here. Both teams seem quite comfortable on Steps, and I think they're relatively even of caliber. The only issue for me is, which one is going to be able to break their opponent's strong side, because one of them has to win the attack while the other loses the defense. And for me, obviously, B Gaming's good on the attack, Coalition Zoo's good on the defense. So this one is the important one, I think, for both sides. This is the sides that they're currently on is their favoured side. So this is going to be the crucial battle. Second half will be a little bit different.
I think so. So right now, Madhouse making a nice little boost work from the looks of things up there. And he's going to be able to get himself up there with relative ease. In the meantime, B Gaming on the back end looking to push up towards that 2 flag from the looks of things. And they have got their Lorraine, Tomato JP all the way out back on that 0 line. So I still don't think that'll stop them from just committing to a full push. And interesting that both teams actually have the Lorraine as well.
Yeah. At the moment, B Gaming are heading in towards that 2 cap, which is going to be perhaps a incorrect decision. We'll have to see what Madhouse can do from up on that boost, but typically when we do see teams push into the 2 cap and there is a player on the boost, it's not a good time, especially considering it's a bat chat that's on the boost. Normally you'd be expecting to see an RE251 or something like that. So maybe heading into this, B Gaming won't even expect anyone on the boost, considering there's no tier 8 scout tank for the Coalition Zoo. We'll have to see how it works out, but it does look like B Gaming are falling back away from this one, so they might have a bit of an inkling as to what's going on.
Yeah, they might do, but for now, it's looking like B Gaming are just going to be rethinking where they want to head out to. And look, they really need to get some spots to put that arty into use. Tomato JP, he's going to need to rotate as well, and he's going to need to essentially always be at the back of the Coalition, of the B Gaming side. Because Coalition Zoo have those bat chats that can rotate and flank around so quickly and so easily. But, you know, all it takes is 20 seconds for a Batchat to flank around, get 1 or 2 shots into a Lorraine, and that Lorraine is going to be going down.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind this from B Gaming. They're just sort of like trying to get some information across the map here, poking in towards certain positions, figuring out where the coalitions who are holding, and they're playing a very conservative game, but a safe game, and I like the way that they're going about this. I think they're putting themselves in good positions here. Obviously, very good on the attacking side of steps, so they should be, of course, you know, well accustomed to playing this map.
Yep.
And it certainly seems like they've really gone about this the right way. Joke, having a bit of a fun time drawing circles, maybe.
Something like that. Not too sure exactly what Joke is doing, but for now we will be seeing B Gaming heading up towards that 1 flag, and Coalition Zoo, they do have Crazy B and, well, Pac-Manius on the flag, who I think is certainly a newish addition to their playing roster.
I definitely think so too.
Haven't seen him too much before.
Was there a transfer window during the break?
Potentially.
Potentially there was.
Potentially.
Anyways. We've seen a few changes so far. Anyway, I don't think Haku's from the initial Coalition Zoo roster either. Still, Pac-Manius, his debut, I guess, in the WGL APAC is probably not going to be lasting as long as he would have liked. He's under a lot of pressure right now, and he will be the first tank to be taken down throughout our series here between Coalition Zoo and B Gaming. B Gaming, of course, starting it off pretty well. Crazy B now is going to be the target, and he is under a lot of fire. This is looking very good for B Gaming. Look at all the damage they're doing across, though. They need to close out these kills. Crazy B, he needs to go down relatively shortly. Lechippy, they need to finish him off. Just get rid of these tanks, get them off the field so they don't have to worry about them. And there goes two of them. Joke and Crazy B going down. Coalition Zoo have got almost 0 chance of winning this game from this point on.
It's Coalition Zoo going downhill very, very quickly in that little engagement, and I'm not too sure what the logic was behind Coalition Zoo only having 2 heavies out at the 1 flag. You know, we never see that, and we never see that for good reason. And again, Madhouse here, look, he's just going to get rammed down, 600 HP, see you later. He's not going to be able to run away from this. He might be able to deal a bit of damage to Lod, but that's all. And Roby-1 Kenobi coming in here.
He is. And, well, he's going to pick up 1 there onto Lod, but for all the good it's going to do, I think, for Coalition Zoo, to be honest, Taki is going to be able to take down Madhouse there. And Roby-1 Kenobi running for his life as his teammates fall alongside him. In the end, he will be taken down, and it's all just onto Haku in that Lorraine. Not much more that he's going to be able to do.
No, Haku there tries a shot, but he's going to get found out pretty quickly. And Taki's going to be the man to take him down. So see you later, Haku, and that's it. So a very dismal start there to the Coalition Zoo's kind of new roster, new lineup in WGL APAC. Not looking great. And
similarly, a very good start for B Gaming there. They, of course, feeling pretty confident on that one. We said they're good on steps attack, and they've just proved it there. They looked fantastic. They recognized what Coalition Zoo was doing. They moved their positions. They didn't just charge straight into that 2-cap and get caught off guard by the boost, and they really took advantage of the intel that they were able to figure out from that initial push, and really just swept the floor with Coalition Zoo.
Yeah, absolutely swept the floor with them. And look, I think that Coalition Zoo, if they do play, you know, on this, well, obviously they are going to be playing on the second half of the steps, but for future reference on steps, you know, you don't just put 2 tanks all the way up on the other side of the railway line on the defense. You know, you need backup.
Yeah, well, maybe that's going to be evidenced here by the replays. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I don't know. Pac-Manius, he was looking in the wrong direction, and 2, he was just caught out by, what, 3 bat chats and a couple of other tanks, really, but even 3 bat chats would have been enough to take him down there, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so. So, not looking great. But right now, Madhouse getting dropped down a little bit after that. I mean, again, Madhouse, I'm not too sure what he was... at this point, it was probably over. Probably curtains anyway, but again, still not too sure what he was doing. Essentially out of his own there. So.
Yep. Well, pretty convincing performance coming out from B Gaming there. They definitely look good on the attack, but not surprising to say. They always tend to Moving over to the defensive side, they're not as strong, but they still have a very good win rate, 67%. So I'm not so sure about the chances here of Coalition Zoo now. Let's have a look at the post-battle stats first, and Taki and Matil leading the charge there for B Gaming. The Bat Chats, not a big surprise to see them up towards the top there. Madhouse up on the boost in the Bat Chat for Coalition Zoo did manage to get a bit of damage across, but really not enough. Only 4 shots, and I mean, to be honest, the damage that he was able to do was irrelevant because 2 of his teammates were already dead at that point. So what's the point? Well, there is a point, obviously, but just like he couldn't bring it back enough. And Pacmanius even 400 damage, Crazy B 832. Like that's just not enough.
It's just not enough, simple as that. And Pacmanius, well, he's got a little bit more work to do before he's I don't know, shows his worth as a new recruit for the Coalition Zoo, because 400 damage in a 113, really not what they should be about. Good to see them changing it up a little bit, though, to be honest. So one thing which we can take out of that is that TCZ, they're not normally a team that picks that arty.
Yep.
So for them to lock that one in on steps, it at least shows that they're willing now to change it up a little bit. And I think that's going to be the key for them moving forward, to change it up a little bit, but into strategies that actually work.
It's not like you can pick an E100 on steps and expect to have much luck.
Probably not.
Yeah, I was going to say, surely you can't argue against this one. I mean, across the board, the maps that are coming out today, you probably wouldn't want to be picking an E100 on. I think maybe the only one would be Ruinberg, which you could argue you could put E100s on maybe the attacking side there. Possibly the defending, though I'd probably favour the attack side with the E100, but I mean, that is kind of irrelevant. Across the board, it's not a great map pool for Coalition Zoo, I got to say, so I was hoping to see them get off to a bit of a better start here on steps, but I mean, they've got the opportunity to turn things around here in the second half. We'll have to see what tanks they do decide to go for. 113s, Bat-Chats, pretty standard.
Yeah, B Gaming going to be going with the, actually the Object 430. As well as those 2 Object 140s there. So kind of mixing it up a little bit with their Soviet Tier 10 medium tanks, but nothing too crazy. Lots of the Bat Chats. I do like those AP Bat Chat picks on the Coalition Zoo side. You know, can't go wrong with the Bat Chat APs. So we'll see how they put them to use.
Well, they're going to have to put them to good use here because B Gaming looked very good in that first half, and well, for now, Coalition Zoo and B Gaming look like they're going to be heading for, essentially a head-on collision, because B Gaming set up in that 2-flag area. Coalition Zoo heading in that direction. Could be seeing some early fights coming out here between B Gaming and Coalition Zoo on the second half of the first map.
We could indeed, and it's looking like the Coalition Zoo are going to be moving up a little bit with most of their lineup. Maybe trying for an early 2-flag push, which I do like. Leading with their 113s, and that's exactly how you want to do it. Just put your heavy tanks in front, get them on the flag, get them hull down. You know, only peak with those turrets showing, those strong turrets of the 113s. That could work out pretty well.
Lot is playing pretty far forward, so he might be able to get picked off by B Gaming here, but I think he's got a little bit of a dip that he can dive below if he gets under a little bit of trouble. And there is, of course, a few B Gaming players here that are going to be able to help him out. I would imagine Coalition Zoo have been spotted out now, and we are going to see Taki firing a shot in their direction. Won't manage to land that, but now Coalition Zoo, they kind of are aware that B Gaming must be over towards this direction, so they seem content to actually take the fight. We'll see how that works out for them. B Gaming now rotating across the map, starting to get into their defensive positions, and really trying to just out-rotate, outmaneuver the Coalition Zoo here by going around and getting behind them, circling them in. Really, from this point on, Coalition Zoo have to fight. They can't get out of here now.
Yep. No, exactly. You're right. And B Gaming, we are going to be seeing Super Hiroshi coming around, potentially coming around the back. I know that B Gaming have kind of spotted out some of TCZ, maybe not all, but they've got to know very, very soon the Coalition Zoo are coming up for a very nice maneuver on them.
Yeah, I don't mind this from Coalition Zoo. Just trying to, I guess, read the situation as well. B Gaming, like they're trying to outmaneuver B Gaming themselves. So both teams playing a bit of a cat and mouse game, trying to get the better position initially to start off this fight. At the moment, I'd have to say Coalition Zoo might be slightly favoured. You can see Super Hiroshi down towards the southern end of the map there, as well as Tilted Matil. So if Coalition Zoo can get off a quick fight here, they do have the numbers advantage. It's just going to be so hard to actually take advantage of that.
Very, very hard for TCZ, but they are going to be engaging a little bit. T4 in that object. 430 does take the first shot for B Gaming. Coalition Zoo, well, Lechippy will be the target on their side, as it's looking like they're a little bit reticent to push in towards B Gaming, who are sat behind the 2 flag right here. For good reason. B Gaming have a nice defensive hold. It's going to be hard to push over these kind of hilltops. And whoop, engage B Gaming. But it's looking like they've rotated now, and their mediums are going to go.
This is so bad here for Coalition Zoo. They're going to be collapsed upon, or these 3 tanks down towards the south there are going to be collapsed upon by so many B Gaming players. Haku should get caught off guard here. If not, Madhouse and Haku just need to wait for those B Gaming players to actually get the focus fire going on. And Tilted Matil leading the charge over there. He's not going to be too bothered about losing a bit of HP here. If those shots are going into the tier 8, that means they're not going into the tier 10s. That's exactly what B Gaming are wanting here. They are actually taking quite a lot of damage at the moment. They need to take out both of these tanks very quickly so they can assist a lot up there in towards the top of the map. T4 as well is taking a lot of damage, and these two should be going down. It looks like it's going to be a 2-for-2 trade overall when all things are said and done. T4 should get taken out here pretty quickly. Super Hiroshi's very low. There goes 3 actually for the Coalition Zoo, and at the moment only 2 for B Gaming, although Super Hiroshi, as I said, he's so low. 12 HP. It's a 4 versus 5, and it's hard to say who came out of that one better because, I mean, Coalition Zoo have a little bit of HP to play with, but B Gaming have an extra tank, so still very much in the balance.
Very, very close here between Coalition Zoo and B Gaming. And technically speaking, B Gaming are actually losing in terms of HP, but of course, guns on the field, that is one of the most important stats in World of Tanks. If you are on 12 HP, if you're on 2000 HP, it does not matter. You can still get the damage out and be a threat. And Joke right there taking a lot of damage from B Gaming, who are just in better positions right now.
Yeah, it's sort of like a snipe war at the moment. Coalition Zoo just posturing for position here, and it's interesting because, I mean, the teams have essentially swapped the sides of the map, and B Gaming are playing from the attacking side, Coalition Zoo playing from the defending side, but at the moment, Coalition Zoo, I guess, playing the defensive game as well, trying to defend their Kappa, Lechippy. B Gaming should be pretty on board with this one, though. I think they're going to be quite pleased with how this situation has been going. Crazy B in the 113. If he can maybe snipe off Super Hiroshi, but I don't think he's going to be able to spot him, and Super Hiroshi's way too far away, behind a couple of rocks now as well, so he's going to be okay. Kian Power, what's he going to do with this? It's only 40 seconds left on the clock, so B Gaming going to have to get a wriggle on. So I guess they have to take out Crazy B first, and Kian Power is going to be able to do that. And so now they will turn their attention to that cap circle, although Kian Power takes a big shot, and he's the one that might have to get the reset here, although Taki's quite far behind him. And now you can see them moving very quickly forward. Tilted Matil, he's under pressure here from the 113. He's just trying to, I guess, play a bit of a bait game. He's trying to distract the 113. Joke isn't going to be able to play much of a part in this real fight here if he's chasing Tilted Matil.
Reset.
And there you go, the reset comes out. No worries at all for B Gaming.
Yeah, should be pretty simple here onwards for B Gaming as they clean out Joke. Pac-Manius, who went down first last time, goes down last this time, but overall, might have had
results the same.
Yep, the results the same.
B Gaming picking up 2 and 0 to start off here on steps. So, really good stuff from them. It is their pick, so I mean they would have expected to come into this one with a bit of an advantage, I suppose. But it's not a bad map for Coalition Zoo, so I think overall B Gaming should be pretty pleased with how that's gone down. 2-0, always good to start off, always good to get that early momentum heading in your direction.
Yeah, and it was interesting to see the Coalition Zoo there because initially I thought they were just going to go straight for a 2-flag push, and I actually think that would have worked out better for them because if they just got their 113s on towards the 2-flag, backed them up with a flank around with their mediums, maybe it would have worked better.
Maybe it would have, but I mean overall you could see it didn't work out too well there for Coalition Zoo, and this is how it went down. Those 2 Bat Chats getting caught off guard. I mean, this part of the fight wasn't so bad for Coalition Zoo actually, because they did manage to catch a couple of the B Gaming tanks off guard as well, and they were doing a lot of damage, but there's still 3 tanks alive there for such a long time for B Gaming. If they had a focus just a little bit better, stopped a couple of those shots from coming out from the B Gaming tanks, maybe they would have had enough HP to play with to take a real fight here late in the game, but they were kind of forced just to sit on that cap, and it was always going to be an easy reset for B Gaming from that point on. There just wasn't enough pressure from the Coalition Zoo to hold off on that cap. So overall, B Gaming, you know, very, very convincing there on steps, and it makes me feel pretty confident about them heading in towards the next few maps that are coming out in our pool here.
I think so. So, you know, thinking ahead now after that one to our next map, which is, I believe, Ruinberg.
Ruinberg, yeah.
You know, I think that's going to be a tough ask for TCZ.
Definitely is. We'll have a look first at the post-battle stats, though, from that second one on steps. And again, B Gaming sitting up towards the top there. Pac-Manius this time having a bit of a better entry in towards the scoreboard, but overall not going to be too pleased with how that one turned out, regardless. 2 losses already on the board there for Coalition Zoo. And yeah, as you mentioned, going on to Ruinberg, it's really not a map that Coalition Zoo is particularly comfortable on. I mean, they tend to play it and pick it a fair bit for some reason. But to be honest, they don't have that good of a win-loss record on it. And they've actually picked it this time as well. It is Coalition Zoo's pick. But, I mean...
They have a terrible win.
Yeah, out of 16 times played, they've got, what, 38% win rate?
Yeah, and a 25% win rate on the attack.
Yeah.
So, I'm really not too sure.
And I mean, when you look at B Gaming, they are about 50% win rate. I think a little bit more than 50% on Ruinberg. And they don't play it as much as Coalition Zoo, but it definitely does feel, again, like it might be leaning a little bit towards B Gaming here.
Ruinberg feels more like a B Gaming map to me. So
yeah, I don't know. Like maybe we see those E100s coming out here for Coalition Zoo, something like that. They can get a bit of luck going in towards maybe the I don't know, the 1 cap, get some E100s there, make life a bit difficult, but I don't know. I don't really see it coming off here for Coalition Zoo. I don't know if I'm going to necessarily predict a 2-0 for B Gaming because it's not a map that they tend to play all that much. So maybe there is an opportunity for Coalition Zoo to sneak in there with 1 round. Although, yeah, again, it's hard to even predict that Coalition Zoo is going to get around when their performances on it so far have been a little bit lackluster.
No, I've got to agree with that, I think. And my bet would be 2-0 to B Gaming here. And just looking at the way that B Gaming played those last couple of maps, they always seemed in control. They had excellent map vision, excellent sort of positioning on the defensive side and the attacking side, I suppose. They attacked really well, and they do look confident on Ruinberg. You know, that we've seen them play, I think, more standard in terms of their Ruinberg picks for tanks, but it definitely feels like a B Gaming sort of map, more so than TCZ.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough ask, really, for TCZ. I think if they're going to find anything, they will find it on their defense. Both teams tend to favour the defense a little bit, so if we see a 1-1, I think it'll be both teams picking up the defense as opposed to the attack. As we've previously mentioned, Coalition Zoo pretty shocking on the attack, to be honest. 25% win rate out of, 8 times played, so that's not very good. A little better for B Gaming, it's 33% out of 3, but, you know, again, it's a pretty small sample size, so hard to say. But overall, it just does feel like a bit of a stronger map for B Gaming. So I think Coalition Zoo... Yeah, I'm going to go 2-0 as well, I think, actually. Yeah, it just feels like B Gaming are playing a little bit better at the moment. Sort of similar sort of situation that we saw with Meltdown earlier on today, where they looked like the better team. So, I mean, hopefully for B Gaming in this situation, they don't let slip 3 maps, but definitely does feel like they've started off well. They should be able to continue on well here.
I think so. So, well, I have to wait and see, of course. So let's go ahead and take a look at our tank lineups for this matchup today.
FE215Bs coming out for Coalition Zoo, and nothing across the board looking particularly awful for either of its teams. A couple of 50Bs, a bit of a lighter lineup for B Gaming, so they are on the attack. They might want to try and outmaneuver Coalition Zoo, fall back through the town. We saw them do that on their attack on steps as well. They sort of peeked in towards one flag and then fell back and went over towards the other one. So I can see that potentially happening here again for B Gaming if they get some initial information and just sort of decide the situation that they see is maybe not so favourable. They'll just back out and head back over to another cap with their superior mobility that their lineup does possess. But I mean, on the defensive rotates for Ruinberg, they're pretty quick as well, considering. So as long as Coalition Zoo can control that town towards the bottom of the picture right now, I think they'll be okay in that respect in terms of the rotates. It's just going to come down to who's playing it better at the time, and I feel like B Gaming, like I said, going to come into this one with the advantage. So for me, 2-0.
2-0. Okay. Well, we're both in agreement of that, but let's wait and see and take a look at how Team Coalition Zoo are going to be rolling out in the start of this one here. It's looking like B Gaming. They're going to be rolling out pretty fast with T4 and Lod heading out towards that 2 flag. Tilmatil looks like he's going to be heading out towards K0.
Yeah, so B Gaming just splitting up across the map here, trying to get that information. Tilmatil, he might be in a bit of a dangerous spot here if he does get spotted out, because obviously there's all those tanks in the towns that are going to have their guns trained in his direction, although I think he's just doing a bit of scouting here. He doesn't really want to engage a fight at all, so Pac-Manius, T4's in a good spot to hit him, and we'll be able to do that. Tilmatil gets allows a free bit of damage across to B Gaming, so I mean it's not that much to write home about, to be honest. I'm going to see some trades back. T4 now taking a little bit of damage, but Crazy B, he's not in a great spot. Utori
up the top,
going to be shooting him, up the top towards the northern end of the map. We are starting to see a really committed push from B Gaming heading in towards there. Roby1 Kenobi, he'll be under a bit of pressure in that AMX 1390, but he's going to be getting out of there okay, it seems. Well, his teammate Crazy B did not, and now B Gaming they essentially have complete control of this northern end of the map. We're going to see a rotate coming across. Lod and T4, both of those guys in bat chats. They should have a pretty quick rotate up there. Lachipi and Haku, I mean, they're obviously in a bit of a slower tank in the AMX 50B, but they are relatively quick tanks. Tilmatil is going to go down to Haku there, but I don't think B Gaming are going to be too bothered by that, losing a tier 9 here when they've already taken down a tier 10 of their opponent. There's so much pressure on the Coalition Zoo at the moment. They need to be able to respond. They need to get their maps towards that northern end of the map get their tanks towards the northern end of the map even very quickly, because that 1390 of Roby1 Kenobi, yeah, he might be able to get a reset or two if he's lucky, but it's only going to, get them so much time, right?
Yeah, look, with Crazy B down now, Coalition Zoo, they really do need to push up there pretty soon to get the resets happening. Roby1 Kenobi, like you said, in that AMX 1390, he's going to get dropped down at very low, 16 seconds left, and the only one that's in a position is Madhouse, and Madhouse does manage to get the reset. Joke helping out as well, so that's going to be a good little boost there for the Coalition Zoo. But B Gaming still looking fairly healthy, and they still do have almost a 3,000 HP advantage.
Yeah, B Gaming looking very good into this one, and they're going to get back onto that cap, try and put a little bit more pressure here onto the Coalition Zoo, who still have not really rotated up in towards the northern end of the map. They've got 3 or 4 tanks down there at the moment trying to rotate Pac-Manius, Haku, and Lachipi. They're going to go through the town here, but they'll be spotted out pretty soon by Lod, you would imagine. T4 should be in there to back him up and just slow down this rotate really from the Coalition Zoo, and that's essentially all that they need to do. They don't even need to win the fight. If they can slow it down, back out, keep themselves alive in the best case scenario, of course, then things are going to be difficult here. But Coalition Zoo, yeah, really under a spot of bother now. 30 seconds left on the clock. Are they going to be able to get the reset in time once again? Lachipi and Haku making their way forward, but look at how low Lachipi is, 385. Lodge should be able to clean him up relatively easily. T4 as well. He's playing very far back. I don't know if he's spotted out Pac-Manius. I imagine he has. And I imagine, of course, he's been spotted out in turn, but
10 seconds.
There's only 10 seconds, you're right. And Haku and Lachipi, they have to move forward here. And I mean, even if they do get the reset, I think this is just going to be all she wrote, to be honest, for the Coalition Zoo. Taki's going to be able to take down Lachipi. The resets do come out, but Haku should be going down here relatively shortly as well. Fighting himself only on 87 HP. B Gaming just playing this one slowly, but it's working out very nicely for them there. Keeping the Coalition Zoo at bay and taking the shots when they need to and attacking some auto JP. Look like they want to chase down to Haku here, which is a bit of an interesting decision considering they're all in AMX 50Bs, so they're not really going to be able to catch him. Job might be better left to the bat chats.
Maybe, but they'll catch him eventually around the corner, I think, and it's exactly what they're going to be doing. In the meantime, Pac-Manius in this Object 430. Not too sure how much of an impact he's had, but looks like he will be heading away. Well, trying to head away.
Yeah, not much that he can really hope for here. T4 should be able to clean him up, and he's trying to do the wiggle, but the wiggle's not going to save him there, because T4 is going to be able to land the shot, And now just 2 tanks left alive for the Coalition Zoo. And really, nothing but a dream, to be honest. It's not looking too good for them. They'll be 3-0 down after this one and heading on to the second half. I mean, B Gaming have just looked so comfortable in these first 3 rounds that, like, I mean, I'm leaning towards your 5-0 prediction, to be honest. Like, it's looking that way.
It is indeed looking that way with the Coalition Zoo. Only 2 tanks remaining. Madhouse in this FV215B. Look, he might be able to get maybe a blind reset. It's going to have to be a lucky one. He should sort of know where they're going to be sitting on the flag, but it's not looking like it's going to happen.
No, and even if he does get the reset, it's pretty much irrelevant. There's going to be plenty of tanks here for B Gaming to continue the cap, and in the end, B Gaming will pick it up quite easily. There's 3-0 in their favour now after the first half of Ruhrberg. So, just felt to me like, again, they sort of out-rotated Coalition Zoo. They took the initial kill and really just snowballed things from there. Yeah,
pretty simple, I think. And look, Coalition Zoo, if they want to come back on this next side here on this attacking side of Ruhrberg, which again, that's the side where they've got 25% win rate.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think things are going to get pretty difficult for them. So let's have a look at the replays first. But I dare say we might be seeing a 4-0 coming out here for B Gaming. We'll have to see. Looks like Coalition Zoo are having as difficult of a time playing in this matchup as you are talking tonight, Alex. Unfortunate as it is to say.
It's these top tier games, Jordan. They just take it out of me.
Oh yeah, mate.
Yeah, mate. Mate, some people love this, Jordan. Don't don't hate on it. But
nah.
Anyway,
I get the same when I get sick. My voice goes really deep as well.
Don't make me laugh. It hurts. But anyways, look, B Gaming here.
I'm having more fun tonight than I am.
I could tell, but they never really looked out of control.
No.
In this one, there was, no real single point in that where it looked like, oh yeah, Coalitions are, looking good here. It was always B Gaming just in front, one step ahead, I suppose, of TCZ. When they were setting up for the defensive positions, and even those early scouts by T4 and Lod, Till Matil, he dropped down early, but still got a bit of intel out for B Gaming. So they all played their role in that victory.
Yeah, definitely looked very good for B Gaming overall. Again, the first 3 rounds, they've not looked like there's been a situation where Coalition Zoo was going to win. So, I mean, overall, B Gaming looking very good into this one. We'll have a look at the post-battle stats here. Pac-Manius, again, performing pretty well for Coalition Zoo, but, again, taking, I guess, the wooden spoon, really.
Yeah.
Like, you can't take much away from a loss like that. So, there just needs to be something more done here by Coalition Zoo, and they need to really lift, I suppose.
Lift. I think so. That's the right word for it, because at the moment they're just playing not quite to the caliber that they need to take out, a team that's so experienced together, that so meshes so well together in B Gaming. B Gaming, like I don't know whether Pac-Manius is having a major impact on the TCZ lineup, whether that means they have to change around strats. I don't think I've seen them pick the Object 430.
No, not all that much.
That much, yeah, exactly.
Well, it's whatever they're doing, it's not working, to be fair. So, yeah, well, something needs to change now. And like I said in the EL Gaming match, I think a 3-0 deficit for TCZ here that's pretty much the point where they can't come back from it now, I don't think. Even if they have a pretty good side here on Ruhrberg, the next map that we're heading into, and only the gods know why TCZ would pick Mines against B Gaming. It's absolutely beyond me, considering B Gaming is looking like the best team in the league.
TCZ picked it.
Yeah, TCZ picked it against B Gaming. B Gaming is the best team on Mines in this league. They've beat EL Gaming 2-0. Why would you pick Mines against B Gaming?
Well, they want to give us a show. Jordan, they want to give us a show, because B Gaming on Mines is always a show. We've seen them pick the FV215B 183s. We've seen them pick the FV4005s. We've seen them pick, all manner of crazy tanks. And so I think maybe that's why TCC just said, you know what, if we're going to go out in style, let's pick Mines.
Beats me. It beats me. I don't know. I have no idea, to be honest. I wouldn't be picking Mines against B Gaming. No way. No way. But I guess we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. Rurenberg still on the cards here. We have the second half. Going into that one, I feel like B Gaming will close it out. You think B Gaming will close it out?
Yep.
Yep. We're in agreement. That means it must happen. Maybe. Generally, though, when we've agreed, things have not gone that way. So maybe we're wrong.
Maybe. I'm not sure. But look, I think, there was a reason I made my initial prediction 5-0 to B Gaming.
Yeah.
Because TCC just have not been looking strong.
No. I think I'm going to be leaning that way as well, but let's head into the second half here on Rurenberg. Tank lineups are ready. And some
E100.
T54s, an E100, a T110 E3 for Coalition Zoo. Remember, they're on the attack. So that's interesting, to say the least.
So it's looking like a one flag push.
I'd imagine so. And IS-7 as well. Like, that makes sense, I guess, but generally when you see the IS-7, you'd be heading towards the 2 flag. So a bit of a question mark. Looks like they're actually heading into the 2 flag. So maybe the T110 E3 here is just going to hold that E line, try and take out some tanks on the cross. Not so sure how I feel about this one, though. To see as well how those T54s do. I mean, we don't tend to see that all that often.
Well, exactly. That's another thing which I'm just kind of questioning here by the Coalition Zoo, because when you think about the T4, of course, it's that tier 9 medium tank.
Yeah.
I mean, why really pick it over something like a T10 sort of thing? I mean, I'm just struggling to think of what it really offers over some of the other more effective tier 9s. It's got kind of decent mobility, I suppose. It's a lot better mobility than a T10. But really, 1650 HP for a medium, it doesn't have an amazing gun depression either, so it's going to be hard for them to fire down from this hill.
Yeah. Oh well, we'll see how this one turns out. Coalition Zoo are actually very quickly onto that 2 flag, so it's ticking away pretty fast. B Gaming do need to get in here and get that reset. I dare say that job is going to fall on the shoulders of Taki, who's in the bat champ. But 25 seconds, there we go. There's a reset coming out. 14 seconds still on the clock here, but it's not a great reset. I mean, the B Gaming guys need to continue to put pressure on the Coalition 2 here, and they are doing that, but they need to get a reset. There's 4 seconds left on the clock here. 2 seconds, finally a reset comes out, but now, again, Lod is taking so much damage, and the pressure is not easing for B Gaming. They need to commit to this fight on the 2 flag. They need to take out those tanks that are capping, and there we go. We finally see a very good reset coming out. 35 seconds left now to play with.
But
the pressure exactly. The pressure a little bit easing in terms of that cap pressure, but B Gaming have lost a lot of HP in getting that reset, and now at a bit of a deficit. Although they are starting to pull things back. Coalition Zoo need to be careful with their HP. B Gaming, they want to take down Haku, and they've managed to do that, so that's pretty good for them. And now we're back to a 5 versus a 5 here. Coalition Zoo looking a little bit unhealthier, and their time on the cap is really not looking too good at all for them. B Gaming find themselves another kill. They're starting to get a bit of a roll on in this one, and it looks like B Gaming probably going to be snowballing this second half of Rurenberg away from the Coalition Zoo as well.
Coalition Zoo, look, it was a good try, getting themselves on towards that flag there. And
all of a sudden, though, we see a couple of kills go the way of Coalition Zoo, so this is not over just yet. And Madhouse, he's still on full HP. That is a big tank to deal with this late in the game. T4, he avoids the shot there.
Okay, they've just dealt with him.
Yeah, that's an important, important miss, I guess, from Madhouse there. The A100 here of Joke should be going down to both of these 113s as soon as T4's off the reload. He should be able to pick that one up, and does manage to do that. It's really just Madhouse alive now. LeChippy's going to go down in that T54. And
imagine if he was in a proper tank.
But even if he was in a proper tank, right? Of course, T110 E3 is a proper tank, right? But even if he was in, like, I don't know, a 113 or something, there's no way he'd be able to win this situation. But there's even less chance in a T110 E3 because he basically can't turn around.
Yeah.
Anyway, again, a big gaming win. And a very, well, I say convincing. Like, they had a lot of HP at the end there, and they had a few tanks alive at the end there, but there was a moment there where it hung in the balance.
Shaky for a little bit there for B Gaming. And honestly, when they were getting those cap resets, they were really struggling with HP and putting themselves into dodgy positions. Whoever the bat chat was that got out on towards the cap to get the good reset, ended up dropping very, very fast. So,
Yeah.
you know,
But it was worth in the end. They picked up the victory. I mean, look, they got the reset when they had to. It got very low, but at least they managed to get the reset. They sacrificed a lot of HP from it, but they were able to bring it back. And we'll see that, I guess, on the replays as well because, it was such a key point in the game there, getting those resets. And, you know, when they got it to 30 seconds like this situation, they were just a little bit freer to take those shots that they needed to and play a little bit safer and get the damage across to the Coalition Zoo. And yeah, well, as soon as the T123 of Madhouse missed that shot, I guess, onto the 113, I mean, probably wouldn't have turned things around anyway, but, you know, maybe if he had have been able to connect it, then there would have been something in it for Coalition Zoo. In the end, it wasn't to be. Poor Madhouse, stuck in a 1 versus 3 in a tank destroyer without a turret. Not much that you can hope for in reality.
pretty much nothing.
He probably got a fair bit of damage across, really, in that T123.
We
But
would hope so. He was alive for so long.
yeah, but like again, it would have been irrelevant damage. Like it wasn't impactful at all. So, yep, another good performance from B Gaming, and I'd say 5-0 on the cards. Heading over to Mines. No way, no way. Coalition Zoo picks up one.
No way.
No.
No way at all.
No.
You know what I want to see? I want to see Coalition Zoo here pick up something absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
I want to see 3-4 mouse on Mines by the Coalition Zoo.
I don't even think that would win.
I think it would.
Anyway, post-battle stats, there you go. The T123 up the top of the scoreboard for the Coalition Zoo, but at what cost? Like I said so many times tonight, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're not winning the rounds, even if you're getting all that damage across. T4 up in the 113 did a bit of work, and well, the T54 lightweight for Til Matil, that was pretty impactful.
That is a huge amount of damage. 2.5 thousand for a T54 lightweight. I mean, you're dealing more than that T54, that tier 9. So, crazy amounts of damage.
Yeah, definitely a good performance from him. So, B Gaming sitting in a very good position right now, 4-0. I sort of thought Coalition Zoo could get one on Steps. I didn't really think they could get one there on Ruenberg, but I definitely don't think they can get any on Mines. Mines for B Gaming, like they just look untouchable on it. No team has really been able to take them on it. I think they've lost what? Let me have a look.
Not many.
Twice over a lot of games.
Well, that's the thing. They not only are good at playing Mines, but every time that they do, kind of move towards Mines, it seems like they have a new strategy.
Yeah.
Every week or every 2 weeks, they'll bust out something completely new in Mines, whether it's the FE215B 103s, whether it's the Mouse, whether it's the FE4005, the Arty. We've seen it all, and it's all worked from B Gaming.
Definitely. I'm excited to see what they pull out here tonight. Although, it feels to me like they don't really need to pull anything out against the Coalition Zoo. Let's find out, though. See if they've got something interesting in store for us. And, well, double mouse strap. We've seen it before from B Gaming. But,
I love
happy to see it again.
Love it. Love the double mouse there from B Gaming. And they've got T49 as well, which, honestly, the T49 worked pretty well against TCZ. We're rocking those TVPs and bat chats. Nothing else too crazy in terms of tank picks. We've got the 113s on TCZ side as well.
Yep. I like the lineup from B Gaming. On the defense, the mouse picks, they really make things difficult. We tend to see when B Gaming play the mouse, they just sort of stick it right below the hill on the defensive side of the map, and so it makes it really hard for anyone to flank around through that one cap sort of direction, that cap that you can see on your screen on the left there. It's so tough to get around from that direction, so it just shuts things down, really, on that entire side of the map if there's a mouse sitting there. So we'll see what B Gaming decide to do with it, but that tends to be where they've been putting it. At the moment, though, it does look like B Gaming are going to be heading mostly towards that hill, at least with the majority of their tanks. Of course, the Vat Chats here for the Coalition Zoo going to be getting in a little bit quicker. Tomato JP, what can he do? Didn't manage to do all that much.
884.
Oh, actually, that was him, yeah, 884, not bad. Some other damage coming across to Joke and Pac-Manius, as well as Madhouse. So that's pretty good result there for B Gaming. And I mean, those mouses still just trundling along. Have yet to actually really have an impact on the game.
Kind of reminds me whenever I play my TOG, the battle's half finished by the time you get there.
Tog.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. But this time, instead of sticking that mouse in a more defensive position, it looks like they're just going to go a little bit more aggressive with it and try and force a bit of a brawl here on top of the hill. And I suspect that's off the back of that initial damage that they were able to do over to the Coalition Zoo players. Tomato JP getting another good shot there onto Madhouse this time. It did only about 300 damage, but again, it's a bit of free damage, so B-Gaming are going to take that. And now Crazy B under some pressure. Joke as well, taking some damage across here. Both these mouse tanks really just pushing forward and putting so much damage in. And look at this, B-Gaming just completely ignoring that 113 for now, trying to get the damage across over to the TVPs, the Bat Chats, and eventually they think, oh, well, there's the 113. I might as well shoot him now that I've got nothing else to shoot at. And he goes down as well. This is just looking like a B-Gaming masterclass on mines at the moment. They're not looking under any pressure at all. The T49 does go down, though, to Robbie1 Kenobi. How sad. Would have liked to see a couple more shots coming out from the T49, but across the board, B-Gaming, they've got this one in spades.
Yep. Easy win here for B-Gaming. And I love seeing the Mouses, you know, just not have a care in the world. You know, when they're just driving around. It must be so fun to drive these Mouses, knowing that, you know, in the WGL APAC League, you are just invincible in this sort of a scenario where you can get an upper hand and you know you're going to be the last target, you know, because you're in a mouse, and it's like, okay, I'm just going to drive around.
Well, would it be fun in a mouse? Because you're just like driving around and the rest of your team's cleaning everything up, really. You might get 1 or 2 shots off, but I feel like you're too late to the battle to really do anything.
T4 has got like 2 kills so far, maybe even 3.
Yeah, well, it's working out for B-Gaming, that's for sure. Madhouse and Joke, they do not have long left for this life, and nor does the Coalition Zoo, as B-Gaming, it looks like, will be going up 5-0, taking away a pretty clean victory here against the Coalition Zoo. It must be said, very convincing victory. Have not looked challenged at all in this one, and well, B-Gaming, they're still contesting for number 4 on that leaderboard at the moment. So they definitely are going to be happy to pick up some points here.
They're going to be very happy to pick up a couple of points here, I think, and well, B-Gaming, as they chase out the remaining 2 members of the Coalition Zoo, I think they are going to be feeling very confident coming into tomorrow's matches and next week's matches as well.
Yeah, definitely. B-Gaming, again, they struggled a little bit against Karen Tiger last week, but they've come back here and really put up a good performance against the Coalition Zoo. And well, this is going to be a bit of a shocking run, to be honest, for the Coalition Zoo, because losing 5-0 to Team Efficiency, now losing 5-0 to B-Gaming. Well, I mean, if they lose this, which they should. They're just taking their sweet time about it.
Yeah, Joke right here, just boosting himself, so getting up on the boost. And
see, the thing is, like, you could understand this strategy if the Coalition Zoo was on the defense, like trying to hide up on the boost maybe, but they're on the attack. So
yeah, it's pointless.
It is pointless. I guess that they know that the mouse can't chase them in that area. I don't. Maybe the TVP can get up on the boost there, I'd say, if he hits it right. But the 113 and the mouse certainly can't.
And that's another issue for the TVPs. That TVP, for those that don't know, has one of the lowest penetrations with gold rounds in any tier 10 sort of medium. So when you're going up against a mouse in that TVP, you know, you are going to be struggling to actually get through it. I think the actual number on it is something around the 310 mark, average penetration. So you do have to roll quite high to actually, you know, to actually get through.
Yeah. Maybe get around the back of the mouse and hope for the best. I don't know what Coalition Zoo are doing here. I guess just fighting to the bitter end. Although, admittedly, Joke now literally cannot die if he stays up on that boost. And just hides somewhere. No one can kill him, but it's not going to help him.
Yeah, it's a little bit silly there for Mr. Joke, but not to worry. Madhouse in that TVP, he's been trying. He did manage to take down one member of B-Gaming, I think so. Nice little kind of wooden spoon prize there for him.
Well, overall, B-Gaming definitely looking very good at the moment. And again, I guess this just goes to show why we were so perplexed as to why Coalition Zoo would pick Mines against B Gaming. Like, Prokhorovka was the remaining map, which would have been coming up after this, and on paper, Prokhorovka would have been a much better pick for Coalition Zoo. Although in saying that, it still does favour B Gaming slightly, I would say.
I suppose Coalition Zoo, look, they are 50% win rate on Mines, so maybe it's not their worst map. You know, they have worse maps like, well, Ruinberg and Ghost Town, Cliff,
Muravanka.
Muravanka, well, they don't play
Muravanka, but I guess that just means that it's not a very good map for them anyway. But yeah, B Gaming had a bigger map pool. Coalition Zoo weren't really able to get onto their favoured maps, which, I mean, in reality probably was only going to be Himmelsdorf. And even then, like, Himmelsdorf could have potentially been a 50-50 because B Gaming is very good at Himmelsdorf attack. They only tend to get let down by their defensive side. So overall, it was going to be a tough ask here for Coalition Zoo. And I guess in hindsight, questioning why I picked 5-3, when really only one of these maps was a particularly good one for Coalition Zoo, and it didn't even get picked today. So yeah.
There we go. So Joke driving off the edge very carefully in that bat chat of his. And it's looking like as Joke looks to end his little reign here, my voice is trying to end as well.
It's rain.
Yep.
I don't want to make too much fun of you because I'm probably going to get sick now as well.
Probably,
and like,
yeah.
And it's going to take
karma.
It'll take like a week to come into effect, right? So like, I'll be fine tomorrow and I'll be fine on Monday, and then I'll just be like, on Tuesday I'll just be feeling like a little bit of a niggle in my throat, and I'll be like, uh-oh, here we go. Wednesday I won't be so bad, and then come Saturday and Sunday next week when I'm trying to cast World of Tanks, I'll be like, hey guys, welcome to the WGL APAC. It's me, Office Guy. Joined by my friend Alex Blakey, who made me get sick. So we'll see what happens. So if I get sick next week, be nice to me.
They've just taken
just
out
like
a mouse.
I've been so nice to you.
By the way, while we've been talking, you know, rubbish, they've just taken out a mouse, and I didn't know how they could do that.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like, they have a minute and a half to take out 2 remaining B Gaming tanks. There's no way. Well, there is, I guess, but surely not. Surely not.
I mean, probably not.
Joke's taken another shot there as well. He's down to 44 HP, so I think that's all she wrote. I think the nail is well and truly embedded in the coffin right here for TCZ.
They gave it a good crack though, taking down another mouse, and T4 was on 3k HP.
Yeah. Well, 1 minute to work with, and I guess that's the go signal here for Madhouse and Joke. I don't know what they would have to do here to win. Like, they would have to... Well, not that. B Gaming would have to miss a lot of shots. And Joke would actually have to hit his.
Yeah, that'd help.
I reckon you should just ram mouse here. Ram the mouse here. No, Kyung Power's going to get it done. And there you go. After a very prolonged battle there on Mines, it is going to be B Gaming picking it up 5-0. And I think we all knew that was going to be the case about 5 minutes ago. But B Gaming going to be pretty pleased with that one. Getting lots of points on the board, and that's what they need.
They love their points, B Gaming, and that's exactly what they need. So I think, well, it wasn't really much to say after that one. That was...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll spare you. I'll spare your voice. Not that you can really say much about that one. I can though, because I've got a good voice. Yeah, look, B Gaming. There was no reason I think for Coalition Zoo to get onto Mines there for B Gaming. It would have been my first veto, to be honest, up against B Gaming. But nonetheless, they got onto it. Anyway, having a look at the replays, this was the initial fight, and I did like how B Gaming really just focused down all those TVPs. I think the mouse there of Lod might have as well been trying to block some of those shots from the heavies here. That 113 of Crazy B onto his higher damage teammates, maybe being a bit of a steel wall. He was definitely in the right spot for it. But overall, yeah, look, a good performance from B Gaming, as we've come to expect on Mines, and I guess it's just another bit of a statistic on the stats sheet, really, for them to make their Mines stats look a little bit better.
just a little bit, I think. And, well, they definitely achieved that if that was their goal. So, see, Joke gave it a good try, but...
Yeah, by shooting the ground. That's my definition.
I said try.
Try, but did not succeed. And to be fair, it was going to be almost impossible to succeed there. So, yeah, look, to be honest, B Gaming coming out 5-0. In hindsight, not too surprising. We'll have a look at the post-battle stats here. And, well, Joke and Madhouse had a lot of damage done, but going up against two Mouses, I suppose, not too unexpected, and they were the two that survived the longest there. So, definitely had the opportunity to get some damage.
TVPs did work as well.
Look at the T49, 3 shots, and he did 2,000 damage. That's quite good.
It's very good.
Quite good indeed. So even though he went down very quickly, I mean, that was a pretty good performance there from Tomato JP in that one. But overall, yeah, B Gaming, the first time they played against TCZ, they picked up a 5-1. This time, they pick up a 5-0. So again, similar to our last matchup, they improve upon their result. So EL improved upon their result against Karen Tiger. B Gaming improved upon their result against the Coalition Zoo. And some of the teams may be getting a bit stronger towards the end of the season. Some of the teams may be getting a bit weaker towards the end of the season.
And I was right with my prediction.
You were. Very good. Very good. Probably the best thing that's happened to you today.
Probably.
Yeah.
Some nice dinner though. Nice noodles.
They
were nice.
From the tyre shop.
Yep.
I think you should go home and have some tea.
Ginger and honey tea.
Honey, yeah. And lemon apparently works well as well. But I generally just go with the honey. Anyway. Still, it's been a pretty good day overall here at the WGL APAC region. We've had some pretty standard results, I think. Having a look at today's matches. Team efficiency up against Horsemen. I kind of...
A bit unexpected. A little bit.
I expected efficiency to win, but I expected them to win a little bit more convincingly than that. Meltdown over Dark Wolves, yeah, fair enough. 5-3, pretty decent result. EL Gaming over Karen Tiger, again a 5-0. Entirely expected. Although I did say 5-1 for Karen Tiger, but you know it is EL Gaming and B Gaming over Coalition Zoo. Yeah, look, I thought Coalition Zoo was going to come into this one a little bit better, but it was quite obvious coming into this one the Coalition Zoo were going to be the underdogs. So to see B Gaming pull off a victory like that is not entirely surprising at all. So overall, pretty good day. And heading into day 2, I think, or day 2 of this week, I think we're going to be seeing some more good matches coming out.
Think so. Well, we'll have to wait and see until tomorrow.
Wait and see if we see you tomorrow. Hopefully you wake up with a voice. Otherwise, I'll be sitting here on my own, talking to myself. But to hopefully save me from that, you're going to be having a good night's sleep. Let's have a look, though, at the leaderboard after tonight's matches. And again, EL Gaming propels themselves a little bit further forward, up towards the top. And now B Gaming, they've leapfrogged over Team Efficiency, who only got those 2 points tonight, and put themselves up from 5th place into 3rd. So it's a good jump. But again, still, things looking very close. 28, 27, 25. Those 3 looking like any of them can leapfrog each other. But only 2 of them are going to be in the top 4. One's going to have to miss out. And I mean, Meltdown, I think, you know, assuming they have a pretty decent couple of weeks following this, they shouldn't be catchable. So I don't think we're going to be seeing them drop out of the top 4.
No, I'd agree with that. Meltdown should be staying up there. They're looking pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. And of course, EL. I mean, you can't really expect anyone's going to be catching EL at this point. The bottom 4, though, they have a bit of work to do. Anyway, let's have a look at tomorrow's games and see if that's going to be when they'll be able to do it. Horsemen versus EL. That is a tough ask for Horsemen, so perhaps might be seeing them suffer another defeat tomorrow. We'll have to see how that one turns out. Coalition Zoo and Dark Wolves. I think that one will be pretty close. Both teams having a loss today, so they'll be wanting to bounce back with a win tomorrow. B Gaming Team Efficiency, that'll be another
close.
one.
That'll be good.
That will be a close one, I think. Both teams coming in with reasonable form. And Karen Tiger and Meltdown, I think that'll be relatively evenly matched as well, although I probably will favour Meltdown a little bit. Overall, we might see some close games tomorrow as well. Don't expect to see maybe any 5-0s, except perhaps EL over Horsemen, although we'll have to see how that one turns out. Of course, that is going to be coming up tomorrow. Today, of course, has been finished off. We've seen our 4 matches for today, and it's been a good one, but hopefully you'll join us tomorrow. Of course, the same time, we'll be starting at 4 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time here on this channel. We do hope you'll join us then. But of course, until then, good night and happy tanking.